Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews, and today we've got ourselves another brand new Mattel Jurassic World Rebirth set. As we can see, they are going all in when it comes to the Mosasaurus this time around. We've got ourselves a Matchbox set, including a Mosasaurus, and of course the boat that we do see in Jurassic World Rebirth, which is very, very cool. I'm actually super hyped about this one. But you can see, again, everything is kind of like out in the open for us to see, which looks really cool. You've also got the Mosasaurus down here, kind of a little sneak peek over here of the actual set, and the fact that you can put them in the water, which is really cool. I don't think I'm going to do that during the review, but you can do that with the set if you would like. But then here on the back, again, just a few more images basically showing everything off. So let's go ahead, pop this open and check it out. So there is our set now released from its packaging, and it looks pretty cool, honestly. It's pretty neat to have a Mosasaurus in this size range because we've never had one in this size before, and it's also just generally cool to have a boat in the Mattel line because that's not something we really get. So very excited to see this one as a whole. As far as the set goes, let's move the boat here out of screen for a moment so we can take a look at the Mosasaurus. The Mosasaurus itself looks pretty cool, but definitely isn't one of the best versions of the Mosasaurus that is out. There's quite a bit that I'm not a huge fan of about this one. First of all, the teeth. We've got those kind of cheap, generic looking teeth like we had on a lot of the older Mosasaurus, and you can see that when we look on the inside of the mouth. Again, same deal. We also probably don't, oh wow, we don't even have the teeth on the inside of the mouth on the upper side. I was expecting them to be there but be unpainted, but we don't even have them, unfortunately. We can see the tongue looks pretty good, does have a pinkish tone in there, but not really the greatest as far as that goes. But we have kind of the same coloration that we had seen on the other Mosasaurus figures, where we have the dark tone here moving back from the face. We also have the yellow eye with a black pupil. Normally, I feel like the dark tone through the face moves back a little bit further, but we see the green pick up, and then we have that dark tone basically kind of pattern through, but it's not quite as impressive as far as the little bit more elaborate patterning that we see on the more mainline versions of this Mosasaurus. Same deal as we move back as far as the browns go, but the browns pattern through, and then they actually disappear briefly before picking back up in the tail. Normally it's a fairly smooth transition where we kind of have the patterns and then it just basically overtakes the dark brown of the tail almost immediately, but here we have a little bit of like a pause between the two areas. We also have the light tone here moving along the underside, but that is a separate piece that's been added, and you can very clearly see that as you follow along. The entire figure also has a plastic feel except the tail, which is a little bit flexible. And of course, yeah, the flippers are also a softer rubbery material, but for the most part it does have a harder kind of like a plastic feel to it, so it's not going to be quite as durable as the other Mosasaurus are. Moving through the body though, the skin texture looks fairly decent on this, but also again not quite as nice as we see on the mainline versions. We can see that, especially when you look here in the flippers of the figure, the detail is fairly muted overall. It looks okay, but definitely not really all that great. We do have some articulation, it looks like, yeah, so you can swivel the flippers, and that's really about it. It doesn't have any other ability to kind of go up and down, and even that, it seems super, super limited. Doesn't really move too well. And it looks like we should have a swivel for the tail, but we actually do not. Only some brief articulation there, only like some very brief mobility in the flippers of the figure. We also are going to have the articulated jaw because there is a button up here which does make the jaws snap, which is pretty fun. Definitely adds at least a little bit of fun playability to the figure, but it is definitely not one of the best Mosasaurus in the Rebirth line. Still pretty cool looking. Like visually, it is a nice looking Mosasaurus, especially from a step back. You also get some missiles because you do have a little launcher on the top of the boat. They give you a few extras. And one thing that's really fun about the actual boat itself, which you can probably already see, is you can see there are wheels, so you can, even on a hard surface, kind of move it smoothly like it is actually flowing through the water and driving through the water, which is a very nice touch. When it comes to the boat itself, when when you get nice and close, you can see it looks really cool. We can also see the InGen logo on the side, which I absolutely love. Anytime I see an InGen logo anywhere, as you move through, the coloration and everything looks pretty good. Overall, they did a very nice job as far as that goes. It looks quite high quality. I'm going to take this vehicle out for just a moment because it's just flopping around in there. We even have a life ring on here, and I love the fact that that actually has like the little white areas painted out. And one thing that's super cool is as you move back, you see stickers here, but the stickers actually show, you know, people and everything inside the boat, which is really, really neat. Kind of looks like maybe we have Scarlett Johansson on the side. And actually just move that out of the way so we can get a shot here of the front. You can see as we move through, again, it's very nice and very highly detailed overall, looking super nice as far as that little area goes. We've got the doors and everything right there. As you move up, you do have this little area here that does actually include a raft, and the raft sits here. Basically, you pull that up to launch the raft out. I'm not going to do that because this thing would just go flying and smash stuff, but you can obviously see you would just launch the raft out to throw it into the water if you want to, of course, escape the boat, maybe while the Mosasaurus is attacking. You can see a rope down here as well as the actual floor of the boat looking really good, really high quality. We've also kind of got like a net back here, which is pretty cool as we move along. And also, I guess actually those are the areas to store our missiles, which is nice. There we go. I actually didn't even notice that at first. And as you move back, again, the rest of the boat looks really good. We as well have, again, our little launcher up here. Let's see if this has any articulation. Yep, so you can move it forward and back. We can also turn it. So again, you can basically aim this wherever you would like, wherever your Mosasaurus might be swimming at that point in time. Didn't know if maybe that had some sort of maneuverability at all, but it does not seem to. As you move around the front of the boat, again, it looks really cool. Oh, look at this little area over here. So we've got all sorts of damage over here on the side, clearly caused by our Mosasaurus, I would think. You can also see, look at that's really cool. Look at the underside of this. That is absolutely awesome. So you can see all sorts of ocean life here on the underside of the boat. I guess that's kind of attached to it. Fish, crabs, everything down here on the underside of the boat. That's really neat. Even the propellers back here. That's a very cool touch on the part of Mattel that I definitely did not expect to see here on the underside, as well as some huge slices through the underside of the boat, which I actually didn't even notice those over here. You can see some gigantic slices right here along the side, I guess from the Spinosaurus. I don't know, maybe. But if we move over here, you can again see everything looks pretty nice as well. And then you have a nice little kind of crane area here. Do we have the ability to kind of go up and down? Sort of, but it doesn't really seem to move too much. Not really. I mean, definitely feels like it should, but I'm not going to risk it and potentially break it. But we can definitely turn it, as you can see, so you can articulate it from side to side, helping you to move around. And then, of course, you can open this area, this kind of like claw, to grab and contain your Mosasaurus, which we have here. So we can catch the Mosasaurus. And now, as you can see, it's just kind of sitting there, and it is trapped. So that's really cool. Definitely some fun playability. Then you also have the raft, which is an entire orangish tone. Not really a whole lot when it comes to detail on it, but I mean, it's a raft, honestly. What could you really expect? But it looks pretty cool. And in this little raft area, you as well have a vehicle, which looks really nice. Again, the Matchbox Jurassic vehicles are always fantastic, if you ask me. Sculpt-wise, paint-wise, everything looks super well done on this vehicle. I'm actually quite excited to get a hold of the new Matchbox sets. And then, of course, you can move the vehicle very nicely forward and back. Seems to work really well, just like everything honestly does. The only other thing that I feel like we really need to do would be to shoot our missile here out just to see how it works. Apparently it does not work at all because I'm just pushing the button and nothing is happening. Okay, so I don't know if I jammed it or what, but I put it back in. I pulled it out, put it back in. Let's try it again. So I don't know. Maybe I just like don't understand how this works or what's going on, but that is not working at all. As you see, once I put it in, let's just try a different missile. Maybe it's just not this missile that it likes. Nope, still not working. So I don't know. It seems like it wants to launch, but I mean, like it pushes it out, but it really doesn't do anything. So as far as that goes, I guess mine is a little bit defective, but overall, it is a pretty cool set. Definitely a really neat set, just with some minor issues. But as far as the actual size of the boat goes, lengthwise, you're looking at about 15¼ inches if you go from the back of this little crane area to the front of the raft, because it's not technically the end of the boat, but as far as the entire set goes, about 15¼ inches, or around 38, almost 39 centimeters for a height. To the top of the missile launcher, where it currently is about 6¼ inches, or around 15, actually more like 16 centimeters. And then for our Mosasaurus, if we get it out of the boat, we take a look at the size of that one. Lengthwise, you were looking at about 12¾ inches, or about 32, maybe a little over 32 centimeters. And then you're not going to get much in the way of a height, around 2 inches or 5 centimeters. For a size comparison, there is Mr. Papo T-Rex, the Attack Pack Colovosaurus, Robert Muldoon, and the Collect Day human being next to our Mosasaurus boat set. And you can see it's pretty cool. Definitely a nicely sized set as a whole, but it's not gigantic. The boat's pretty big, but the Mosasaurus you can see is quite small. However, of course, they would want to kind of size that a little bit closer to the way it should be next to the boat itself, because if we brought in the other Mosasaurus, the Bite and Blast version, that one would be significantly larger. Which you can very clearly see, because we have that version of the Mosasaurus now in here next to the boat set, and you can very clearly see a massive difference in size here. I don't really know what would be good as far as like comparisons or anything with this set goes, so I think we'll just probably end it there. It is a Matchbox set, so just know that again, it is a little bit on the smaller side, at least as far as like the Mosasaurus goes, from your standard Mosasaurus figures from Mattel. So even though the Mosasaurus itself is definitely not the best version in this line, this entire set is super cool, and I really hope that Mattel continues to release more stuff like this, especially when it comes to just for display purposes. This set is really nice and will definitely be a fun one to include in any Jurassic World Rebirth collection. The set overall is, again, fairly well done, with only a few minor issues, like the fact that my launcher doesn't really work, but past that point, honestly, I don't think there's anything I would complain about. The sculpt of the boat and everything looks really good. The paintwork and everything, and the fact that we have stickers in the kind of like windows and everything looks really nice. Definitely adds another level of cool to the set, we'll put it that way. It does have some fun playability with some articulation in the launcher as well as the crane, and of course the ability to kind of launch that raft into the water with a vehicle. I like the fact that it has wheels, so it can move smoothly on hard surfaces, but you can also put it in the water, which is really fun. And obviously they promote the fact that the Mosasaurus can go in the water, so I guess that's safe to do as well. You as well have a vehicle inside the raft, which is a fun addition to the set. Definitely, again, neat to have that included as well. And the launcher itself can actually move through the course of the boat. There are a few different options where you can move it to, which adds another level of play as well. And you have the Mosasaurus, which is pretty decent. It's not really that great. The detail is a little muted, but it's not meant to be a masterpiece. It's just meant to be a fun addition to the set. So if you are interested in this, I will include a link in the description to where you can purchase it on Amazon.com. So check that link, pick it up if you want it, and like, comment, and subscribe. And we'll see you in the next review. Thanks for watching.